we're going to talk about perfectionism and when it becomes the pause button for us. And that can be very helpful, but it can also be hindering. And how to tell the difference and to call yourself out on it, but also be compassionate with yourself, right? Because, I'm all about compassion. Cool. So let me bring this to my journey first. When I was like debating my third surgery, I was like, okay, you know what? I need to have this third surgery, but I was like, I'm not sure if it's going to work because it's like I've had two. What's going to make this third one different? But I felt like I was trying to do everything I could at this point. I was like, as the diets were not what we talk about nowadays, but there were definitely different diets. And I was like doing all these diets and like, you know, I was exercising, I got a gym membership and, I was done and did the pills. I was taking Tums and, like probiotic yogurts. And I think by now I had gotten gluten free. And I was like, so much pressure on myself to do things. And it, things weren't like the needle was not shifting much. And I was like, okay, I need their third surgery, right? But so I did the research and yep, this disease really just needs surgery and maybe they missed some spots. So I got to go back and, you know, I go back. I make this decision because I felt like I couldn't trust my intuition saying, maybe that's not a good idea for you. But them, the authority figure saying, that's what you need. I gave like my personal power away, right? And I wanted it to be perfect. So I'm like, okay, I go there and I did that and then come back. And I regretted it, but then I had to have compassion with myself. I'm like, no, like this is not, like you can't regret this. This was the best decision for you at that time. And and then but I put more pressure on myself when I came out afterwards when the symptoms came back like 8 months later. And I'm like, okay, no, I got to do things more perfectly. And then I would build these elaborate plans and put so much pressure on. And I was like, okay, this is not the right time. This is not the right time. And, or I'm going to start Monday. And then I would actually start, right? I was good at starting by now. And I would start and I would execute. And then I would second guess because I'd hear something from someone else and wonder if that works better than what I was actually doing. And then someone else would say to me, my personal power kept going off. And I realized that perfectionism wasn't me doing everything perfectly, but it was more of a fear that I had that I need to do everything to make sure it works. And the second any doubt came or any thought of something else working came from external, my attention would go there because it's again a fear-based response that I should probably reconsider what I'm doing and not even have the patience and compassion that what I'm doing is myself. And so all this to say is whatever you are doing in this journey, working with us, if you have this sense of like wanting to do things really well, wanting to execute, like perfectly and just wanting to get better, but you do find yourself getting distracted, listening to outside opinions, second guessing yourself feeling overwhelmed with analysis paralysis, there might be some sort of, fear-based perfectionism that's coming up. And that is where you want to bring compassion and say, like, okay, like there's so much fear around this and a lot of pressure and befriend it. Like that's the first thing. And you can go back to nervous system clinic 1, 2, 3, but be able to befriend this and really connect with saying, what's the fear? Why am I paying attention outward? Like where's the distraction? Why so much pressure on myself? And then sit with that feeling because it is so heavy. And it pauses us. It pauses us from doing the small little routines and staying on track. It pauses us sometimes, like I said, for good. We need to reflect, we need to reassess. Maybe there are changes that we can make, maybe there are shifts you can make and go in a different direction. But is that pause button really helping or is it hindering you? And who else faces this where, you know, you are stuck in a loop and then you get on track and then you go back into a loop and you're not quite sure what's worked, what's going to work. And overall, it just feels like you're in your head a lot. maybe stuck in your body a lot because there's like physical tension, like nervous system tension as well. And often we don't talk about this part. Like these are narratives that, conversations that we have with ourselves at night. They might keep us up, second guessing ourselves, might be in the kitchen, might be when you're hearing other people's conversation, you're silently having this conversation with yourself. And I believe that this is a safe space that I would love to have this conversation here with the community today and say, hey, have you had this? What's coming up for you? And know that you're not alone in this. But you might have a very unique angle, unique story, unique history. Show of hands here before we go like bring everybody up for like a open conversation. Show of hands while you guys are all anonymous of who can resonate with some sort of version of this. Okay, so let's bring that. I'm bring you guys up and let's have a conversation about this now. So, I mean, some of the examples that we went through now are like when you go into the doctor's office and they're suggesting either that you keep on a pill or you try a new pill, or that, yep, we need to have surgery, and you don't really get the chance to have like the back and forth conversation where you kind of this fear sets in. There's an authority figure in front of you. You might have questions. Things might not be sitting well, and you just want to work through them. But it's not always the case. And I'm sorry, if like we should have a better experience in all doctor's office where we can have agency, have questions answered, be respectful, and then really work together towards what is the best for you, right? So if you want, let's say if you want to slowly come off, the pill, you would be able to say, hey, what's the best timing? What are the pros right now? What are the cons right now? What are my long-term goals? How has it helped or how has it not helped? And then make an informed decision together, right? And now the next piece would be like, okay, what if surgery was on the table? And then you discuss, okay, like I had this personal surgery discussion where is the surgery, going to be helpful? How will it be helpful? What are the potential risks of it? What else alongside surgery should be incorporated, should be looked at, and build this integrative plan where you feel confident in it. But we often leave confused. I know I left confused, and a lot of you guys are saying too, like you leave confused. And then you get into this place where decision making is really hard, especially when things haven't gone well and years of things not going well. You worried about am I going to make the wrong decision? At the doctor's office about your health. But then it even spills into like you wonder, you debate vacations, you wonder about buying, things in your house or at the store. You start second guessing yourself and you start looking for others to make the decision for you, or you lean in for opinions. With doctors, we always say it. Should I get a second opinion? Maybe I should have gotten a second opinion. Maybe I wouldn't have been here. Oh, look at the food. I knew I shouldn't have eaten that food. I knew it bugged me. I should have fixed that, gone back to that diet. That diet really worked for me back then. Right? We overanalyze, we spiral, we second guess, and we continue to this actually helps us, that doesn't help us. It actually hinders us because we slowly, lose the confidence and our ability to make decisions that stick because we feel like we could have done better. And we have this bit of regret, questioning ourselves, worried about, symptoms or what else, will come. This is taking up energy. This is taking up energy. It's hindering us. It pauses us. It increases inflammation. It disrupts in the immune system, the nervous system, potentially digestion. And it shifts us because it consumes energy that we could potentially turn to like having fun and having life. Like, let's say what I've done a lot of is given compassion to my old self. So I'd find a situation where I've went through this in the past, let's say debating a surgery. I would write a letter out to myself and be like, yep, I'm going to write a letter to that woman sitting on that sofa. I could picture her that year where she sat and debated, is this the right decision for me? Should I just move forward with that surgery? Should I just, borrow money and go into IVF now because I'm really not going to be able to have a baby? Should I go back to that diet? What was that diet that worked really well for me? Or what did that other individual say? And I write a letter to her and say, hey, like, I know you're doing your best. I see that you're feeling this way. You're worried about this decision. You're worried, that this has been your fault because you didn't do this or this. and you could have done this better. The should haves, could haves, would haves come up. But I know that nothing is your fault. You've always done your best. And I hope that I wish that you had taken a little bit more time to live and time blocked some of those decisions. And you probably won't feel confident in your decision making because I couldn't feel confident in them, but you could get to the next best step for you by stepping into the power of the decision you did make and then moving forward and knowing that you can always make a new decision and you always doing the best you can and have just compassion for her. And what I learned slowly is that I get into the decision making mode and I might spiral, I might do analysis. I'm a research person, you know, I have perfectionism, I have this fear. And then I would time block it and say, okay, more research, more opinions, more anything is not about to help you. You need to go live life. Come back with a renewed energy, refreshed energy, go live life, be with your friends, do work, get outside, whatever a full life is. And when you come back, that's when your intuitive powers are flowing, you're your whole self, and you can, if needed, revisit the decision that has been parked and just firm it up or make changes. But when you change it in that new energy, refreshed energy of your whole self, there's confidence will bleed it versus spiraling all day in your own head, in the nervous system, being in freeze, fight, fear mode, whatever it is, you know, thinking that we're doing better, but there's a limitation to that. And we need to be able to call ourselves out, give compassion, step away, park the decision, go out, and then come back and really be intuitive and say, okay, what are the questions I need to ask? What really do I need to assess? And to make the next best step for me. So perfectionism, decision making, connecting with our intuitive powers, and then also reflecting on what's going well and all of the good decisions that we've made and how we really do know what's best for ourselves because we know our body, we know what we want in life, you know, and reconnect with that and find those the decisions you've made, the intuition. When has your intuition, you know, kept you safe? When has it kept you, you know, when has it been really smart? When has it been like soul aligned that you just knew what was going to work for you? Highlight all of the good. Highlight all of the good, all the intuition, all the right decisions you've made so that you can see that and bring that forward with you as well. All right. That's what I would love for you guys to exercise. But let me know if this was all helpful. Thank you for those of you guys who brought out these like real conversations for everybody with such vulnerability and sharing with us today.